You know, whenever we say something's as old as the pyramids, it's quite a feat, especially because it's pretty much the oldest of the seven wonders of the world of ancient times. But there's a culture that comes before that, of course, and they've just found a remnant of such. Seems to be predating the others that they have seen as far as the Naqada and the Gibelin culture. It doesn't have a name yet, because they generally name it after the closest little settlement to it. And this seems to be 35 miles away from the little settlement that something else is already kind of named after, and who knows what they're going to name it at this point. I can't find much more information on it, but it's just come out in early October of this year that they found this site and got this group on it finally after the problem that was going on. And so it's brand new in doing so, but already we have carbon dates that are dating 2,500 years before the pyramids, or a little over 7,000 BC. It's moreover in the Delta area, and appears to be promising somewhat. They've already uncovered walls and made civilization. It looks like there's some type of stonework going on and things, and they're lucky that there's still really any pottery, but they have found some from it too. Of course, all this is going to have to be dated, but their preliminary dating is 7,000 BC plus. Now, this is just found this October, so they're just getting into it. But this is well before the pyramids, 2,500 years before the pyramids. So we're not even talking about the Naqada and other cultures that we can talk about here. And you can see how deep down the sediment they actually found this point that was here, but through the Nile Delta. And at that time it was very rich and fervent like that. And we take a look here and you can see a well laid out building that's processed through. And they're only starting to work on this. This is beginnings of excavation, but they found this wall and they started clearing around it. And people have stuff over here and down here and down there. It's turning to be somewhat of an expansive site. Whenever it first looked like it may have been some type of temple, well, that seems to be the major structure, and always the one big major structure has got to be a temple, right? But they thought on that, but then they're finding all these others too. A lot of connections. So they haven't named it yet, as I said, and so they've dated it off of organic matter that they found exactly at the level once they reach down to what is the floor, of course, like you're supposed to, and off animal bones. In fact, one can see here one of the animal bones that's being found, and this is the domesticated dog. We know this is like a Canaanite hound, and so dogs' teeth are called canine. Their breed is known as a canine. It has something to do with Canaanites and the ancient people who raised dogs and domesticated these in the first place, and this burial is associated with it. But from my knowledge, they haven't found any people that are associated with it, or skeletons or anything at this point. It looks like the necropolis, they either at this point may be burying their dead below the houses, and they haven't been willing to break up the bottom layer yet and just see if anything's under or conspicuous. Doesn't look like in 90% of the area they even have gotten down to the bottom yet. And so this is still a preliminary dating. And that one date that they found in this building is already 7,000 BC. So the area we're going to call plus. And they find this pottery that's here too. And conspicuously it already has that loop, which is very uniform in the Canaanite area through the Phoenicians and Libyans and stuff. They had this, and pre-pottery and Neolithic is just before this. So strangely, at the very first of it, they have this type of thing. And we can also find in the Naqada culture just shortly after a lot of vases that are made just like this, but instead of being made out of clay and pottery, are made out of a hardened Dalmatian stone. that are really a new part in how somebody, if you give them the credibility of what they could have done at the time versus what truthfully is shown is pulled off. They're going to be going slowly through this. They go down inch by inch, and once they find something, it slows down, and even scrapers turn into little paintbrushes and scoops and going at it and things like that. So, but there's quite a few artifacts associated with this already that they've listed, but they haven't really given us the list or pictures. There's just a few taken from the site that are here. And again, I can't find any other information on it. Maybe you can, but it's not even named. But supposedly this picture here, the other one was October 12th, 2020. Nile Delta, new civilization found. So pretty incredible. So I can't wait for some more information to come out about it, and stuff. I'm all into Old Kingdom and Conan the Barbarian and da-da-da, and boy, we are slipping back about times that are something like that. But this civilization here was way, way before Egypt. As far as time as Cleopatra is to now, this was before the pyramids. Long before it got put together and turned into the great civilization, whenever Narmer had put upper and lower together and the things happened and put it into state. So here we go again, stretching back time quite much further than before, and I again anticipate some new information and papers coming out on this, and I'm sure it's going to stretch over the next few years. Depending on the size of the site, it may take a few years. Waiting for a necropolis too. Peace.